Hey, Cornwall Church, this is a big weekend. It's a super weekend, and look at all you guys with your jerseys on. Amazing, cheering on the Hawks. Hey, we're excited to have a very special guest here today. We're going to push pause on our series in the book of John just for today. My friend Gary Thomas is here. Some of you are aware of Gary's ministry, his writings, his speaking. He's spoken here multiple times before. I met Gary over 25 years ago, and he's been an incredible friend. We've run marathons together. We've talked theology and ministry together. We've had laughs together. He's been an encouragement and a supporter for me in some difficult times, and so excited to have him here. Gary has published over 21 books. His latest book here is The Life You Were Reborn to Live. And I got an early copy of this and read it, and there was a part in there that I found so impactful to me. And I asked Gary if he would share from this book a sermon for us today on peace. And I know that you're going to be blessed. Cornwall Church, would you give an enormous, huge, like Super Bowl Sunday welcome to my friend Gary Thomas?
Thank you. Thank you. You did Bob proud there. Hey, if you're my age, you grew up hearing some lies that everybody believed, but they simply weren't true. Some of you younger people won't believe we actually believe this, but back in the day, nobody even questioned them. First one was this: margarine is better for you than butter. I remember that? I remember my mom buying this monstrosity of a product called I Can't Believe It's Not Butter. For the record, I could. And nutrition scientists would tell us it was much worse for you than butter. Or this: 2 generations of kids had to wait an hour after eating to go swimming. Remember that? Why? Here was the thinking. They actually believe this, that when you eat, your blood flow goes toward the digestive system, which depletes your limbs, your hands, and your feet, and you might get cramps and drown. There's no biological science behind that. But we had to forfeit all of this swimming time because we might get these mythical cramps. Or this one: how many of you heard this? Cracking your knuckles causes arthritis. It doesn't. It might cause a divorce if it really bugs your spouse. It doesn't cause arthritis. Now, nobody questioned these. And they're not that serious. I mean, how much margarine did we eat? We lost a little bit of swim time. But the Apostle Paul warns us of spiritually malicious lies that have much greater consequence because they assault our intimacy with God. They keep us from thriving in Christ. And Paul tells us that all of us should assume we're being lied to, and if we're not pushing back against it, we're being carried downstream to become good little citizens of the world. He says in Romans 12:2, do not conform to the pattern of this world. Don't become a good little citizen of the world that believes what the world wants you to believe and is passionate about what the world wants you to be passionate. He says instead, but be transformed. How? By the renewing of your mind. Expose the lies. Live by the truth so that you can be a faithful citizen of God's kingdom, not a little obedient citizen of this world. And that's what I'm trying to address in the book Bob mentioned, The Life You Were Reborn to Live, dismantling the 12 lies that rob your intimacy with God. And this morning, by Bob's request, I want to address one of the lies that I think are the worst lies, because it robs us of, I think, one of the best things about being a Christian, and that's experiencing true personal peace. Personal peace is glorious. It's wonderful. If you've walked in it, it feels supernatural. And again, I think it's one of the best things about being a Christian. The Old Testament word for it is shalom. It's this overall sense of well-being in the widest sense of the word. You're free from mental disturbance. You're free from anxiety. You're free from fear. You're not always living as if the other shoe is about to drop. There's this restfulness in the presence, providence, the love, and the care of God. Somebody say, well, is it a feeling? I go, well, yeah, but like one of my favorite bands from the 70s, Boston, it's more than a feeling. It's this supernatural calm that everything will be okay, even if the world around us seems it's at chaos. The world can be chaotic. Our family can be chaotic. Our closest friends can feel like they're in chaos. But we're settled and at rest. Now, Everybody wants this. If you could see shalom, if you could experience shalom, you'd say, I got to get some of that. But the world lies to us about how we get peace. We think we will have peace when we fix everything in our life that troubles us. But it's the pursuit of trying to fix everything that troubles us that actually keeps us from peace. Because peace is a person, it's not a process. Peace is a person, it's not a process. The lie we have to unlearn is that peace results from fixing everything in our life just the way we want it. The truth is that peace is someone we meet. It's not something we achieve. And the lie that if I can fix everything, I'm going to have peace, leaves us on this fruitless endeavor to just address everything and change everything. Here are some of the counterfeit qualities of peace. We think, well, if I can make this happen, then I'll have peace. If I can create a pain-free life, if I can create a problem-free life, if you want to be married, you have a spouse who loves you and always treats you well. If you want to have kids, you have kids who love you and appreciate you, and all of them are following the Lord. You have parents who are proud of you. Relative security in your vocation or your financial portfolio. Nobody's making you feel guilty or attacking you or making you their enemy. I think even more I've seen lately, people think, I'll never have peace unless the person I voted for is in the White House or the party I voted for is controlling Congress. And if I can make all of those things come true, then finally I'll experience peace. Yeah, good luck with that. I read a study the other week that only about 15% of our problems will be solved. Think about that. Over 80% of the dissatisfactions in our life are something we're going to have to learn to live with. And if you can't live with it, that means you will never experience one of the best blessings about being a Christian, and that is personal peace. Because the kind of peace that God offers to us is completely free from circumstances. I have two good friends. They used to live in Southern California, which was hit really hard by COVID. I mean, I guess everybody was. But things were shut down for a long time there. When they finally opened up the stores again, Steve and Rebecca were at a grocery store, and there's this woman's line they always liked to go into. Her name was Ruby. She's just cheerful and friendly. And they're going through the line. They'd built a relationship with her. And they said, Ruby, how are things going? She goes, pretty good, considering. So, considering what? She says, well, my son has COVID. He had some autoimmune issues, so it's pretty serious. He's on a ventilator, and of course, I can't see him. And they were just struck. If you remember back then, people went on ventilators, I don't want to cause trauma, but pretty much to die. Very few got off of those ventilators. They didn't even know what to say, but she's still scanning the groceries if it's no big deal. And then she goes, and then I went to the doctor this week, and he said I have cancer, and they're trying to figure out a treatment. And they're just like, wow, Ruby, we're so sorry. We were certain to pray for you. And here's what Ruby said. Well, thank you for those prayers. I believe God has a purpose for all this, and he has everything under control. You two have a blessed day. Steve and Rebecca were stunned. Even one of those things, the very real possibility that you could lose your son and you can't even see him. The seriousness of a personal diagnosis, either one of those could leave so many people in so much anxiety and fear and unrest. And she has this supernatural calm in a world of chaos. Rebecca kept going back to the grocery store, and she got nervous. 3 weeks had gone by, and she hadn't seen Ruby. She thought, man, are things taking a really bad turn? And then finally one day she sees Ruby, so she made sure she got in her line, and she's going through, Ruby, how's it doing? She goes, really good. She goes, my son is off the ventilator. He's still in rehab, but he's going to make it. And the doctors have put out a diagnosis and a prescription for my cancer. I feel pretty good about it. And she's wearing an employee's vest, and she pulled it back. And she had a T-shirt that had a quote from the Chosen series. I don't know if you've seen this, but there was one episode where Jesus says to Peter, get used to different. She goes, this is my motto now, Rebecca. I'm getting used to different. Are you filled with anxiety and fear, and you think it's justified? Because these are serious issues. are you willing to get used to different? Do you think it's Jesus, he didn't say it in Scripture, but as he might have said to Peter, look, Peter, things are different. I'm here. Will you get used to different? It's been God's plan from the very start. The coming of peace, that we would experience peace, is mentioned prophetically throughout the entire Old Testament, that with Jesus would come peace. Isaiah 9:6 says the Messiah would be called the Prince of Peace. We always think about the Messiah with salvation, but Isaiah says, no, he's coming to bring peace. That's not just a name, it's a promise. He's going to bring peace to you. In Isaiah 57:19, we're told, peace, peace to those far and near. As a plan of redemption is released, peace will come to those far and near, to Israel and to other nations. Not just salvation, but peace. Now, I'm not knocking salvation at all. It's what we usually talk about. But the challenge is, can I just be honest, we live in a world where not everybody believes in salvation. I have a guy, I really like him. We have great conversations. He's Jewish. And he asked me one time, well, Gary, why do you Christians always feel like you have to share your faith? I said, well, Mike, we believe there's a heaven and a hell. One, we love Jesus. We want others to know him. Secondly, if there's a way for you to experience eternity in God's presence and avoid something as horrible as hell, how could I love you if I don't talk about it? And Mike said, yeah, I guess if you believe in hell, Jesus is the way to go. Yeah, you think? But he doesn't believe in it, so it's not particularly compelling. It's like if somebody says to me, Gary, you got to get this. I go, what is it? It's a CD. It's the best of Michael Bolton. Like, it might be Michael Bolton's best. I still don't feel like I got to listen to it. But everybody knows peace. Everybody wants peace. We don't have to put them against each other, but when we live lives of supernatural peace based on the coming of Jesus, we're showing them a reality, not just that they can see and experience, but something that they want. And God says peace is central to what he's doing. Ezekiel 37:26, I will make a covenant of peace with them. I love this. It will be an everlasting covenant. Look, if you could experience it, some of you are wrapped up with anxiety and fear. If you could experience peace for an hour, you'd be like, oh, this is so much better. If you could experience a day of peace, you'd say, oh, man, I've never had a day like this. If you could go a year, you'd say, I never want to go back to how I used to live. God says, I'm going to give you an everlasting covenant of peace. With the coming of the Messiah, which has happened, God is telling us, you don't have to live another moment with fear, anxiety, and unrest. From now till forever, you can know this covenant of peace. And so throughout the Old Testament, it was brutal. There were crop failures, there were barbarians coming in, there was murder, there were wars, there was sickness, there weren't doctors. I mean, any number of things were brutal in the Old Testament. And God tells his people, just hang on. Peace is coming. Peace is coming. And so when Jesus, the Messiah, comes, how do they announce it to the shepherds? What do the angels say? The Messiah is here. Remember this, Luke 2:14. Glory to God in the highest, and on earth, peace to men on whom his favor rests. Peace comes with the Messiah. The early disciples emphasized peace in their preaching. Acts 10:36. You know the message God sent to the people of Israel, announcing the good news of peace through Jesus Christ, who is Lord of all. Does our contemporary preaching emphasize peace as much as the early church? It was so much on their minds that 19 of 21 of the New Testament epistles begin or end with the blessing of peace. When they began it, when they ended it, they thought, we need to know peace. We are the people of peace. We have the promise of peace. We should live with peace. So let me ask you, how much of your life today is marked by peace? Is it more marked by anxiety, unrest, fear, and uncertainty? Or is your peace, well, I have peace when my health is fine, my family's health is fine, everybody is good with me, our finances are okay, all of these circumstances, then I have peace and then I will have peace? Or is it based on the coming of the Messiah? We put ourselves in these situations where we can't have peace because we can't make the circumstance right. When my oldest daughter was a young girl, she had a hard time at a certain stage in her life just getting to sleep. And one night I tried to do everything, and she's still fussy. I go, Allison, what is it? She goes, Daddy, I can't sleep with the light on, and I can't sleep with the light off. I don't have anywhere to go. Well, no, I guess you don't. And that's the situation we can put God in. But there is a biblical recipe for peace, and that's what I want to share this morning. The first thing we do for peace is a passionate, trusting relationship with God. Isaiah 26:3 says this, you will keep in perfect peace him whose mind is steadfast. Read this with me. Because he trusts in you. It's not just believing in God, it's trusting in God that leads to perfect peace. Peace isn't found in changing your circumstances. It's found in changing your focus from circumstances to a person. Let me give a picture of this. I know we don't get hurricanes out here, but Lisa and I lived in Houston for 12 years where they could get really wild hurricanes. And if one's coming, they're often told you go to the center of your house, often into an interior room, and then you get in the bathtub. I don't know what it is about that, but that's supposed to be the most stable part because you can crawl down and cover everything. But imagine you do that, and it is so bad, the roof is lifted off your house. This has happened. The walls are going, furniture is flying. Just try to feel that. There's nothing to hold on to. It's loud, it's scary. You don't know if you're going to be caught up in it. Just imagine what that would be like. Then in the middle of the storm, Jesus walks in. You might picture him differently. Maybe for some of you, you think he walks up to you and he's smiling and he takes your cheeks in his hands. And he says, I got this. It's okay. I like to picture a 10-foot tall Jesus that comes from behind and wraps his arms around me. Says, yeah, Gary, this is pretty wild. I'm not going to let go. You're all right. What am I going to do when he does that? I'm going to open my eyes. Right? I want to see the show. Whoa! I didn't know that cows could fly. I mean, this is amazing. It would be so foolish to be afraid if Jesus has his arms around me, even in the midst of a storm. Can I say it again, not in the context of a storm? Wouldn't it be silly to be afraid if Jesus' arms are around you? Don't you think if you put your trust in him, his arms are around you? The fear accomplishes nothing. It costs us almost everything. We have to unlearn the natural bent to define our lives, to define our security by what is happening to us, and rather define it by who is walking with us. Because peace is relational. The great thing is God doesn't get tired. He doesn't take naps. He doesn't let go. Peace is relational. It's found in Jesus. John 14:27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled. And do not be afraid. See, Christian peace isn't a problem-free life. It's a passionate life of trust. Nothing to do with circumstances, everything to do with relationship. Say it with me, peace is a person. Peace is a person. Say it with me that peace is found in Jesus. Peace is found in Jesus. Is Jesus always there? Yes. Then peace can always be there. The second part of the recipe for biblical peace is living a life of humility. It's the part of a life that Jesus models for us in Matthew 11:29. Take my yoke upon you. Learn from me. So we learn from him. We want to be what he is. I am gentle and humble in heart. Because if you do that, if you learn from me to be gentle and humble in heart, he says, you'll find rest for your souls. In the Greek language, linguistically, rest is the other side of peace. They're connected words. One is a result of the other. And Jesus says, if you will live in humility as I do, then you will find peace. People who lack humility will never have peace. They'll always be anxious. Why? Because people who lack humility, who forget that God is in control, they think they have to fix everything. I got to stop that from happening. I got to make that happen. I got to save this person. I got to stop that person. I got to bring this person forward. And it's all on them, and they're juggling 100 balls, and they're never going to be able to rest because they think if they do, everything falls apart because they're trying to play God's role. But humility means we can surrender even when things look dark. Jesus had such humility. He was so surrendered to the Father's will. Even when people hated on him and tried to kill him, and Jesus knew it, he told the disciples, they want to kill me. He had peace because he knew the Father's will. And even when he had to do something he really didn't want to do, and he knew the consequences would be severe, he surrendered. He's humble. Father, please take this cup from me. But then what does he say? But not my will, yours be done. It's this irony of the Christian life that when we're most helpless, we're often most humble and we'll experience the most peace. I experienced this in Minnesota some years ago. Bob mentioned that we do marathons. I hate to mention a marathon because I'm a piker when it comes up to Bob. I've done 14 marathons. I think Bob had run 14 marathons by his 16th birthday. He's probably on 380 by now. I'm not sure. But I think I wanted to qualify for the Boston Marathon as much as I wanted to do just about anything in my life. I was living in Bellingham at the time. That meant a lot of runs in the rain and all of that. Like yesterday, I could just feel the trauma from all those 18-mile runs in the rain and the wind here in Bellingham. And I felt like I was in finally good enough shape to do it. You can kind of tell. And I flew into Minnesota and Duluth. They have a marathon at the start of June. It's a flat course. I thought, this is perfect. But they had this freakishly hot day. High humidity, high heat. Well, never run in that. It doesn't get hot in Bellingham until like August 15th, right? For 2 days. And so I was not prepared for that kind of heat. And they raised what they call black balloons. And the black balloons signal two things. One, if you have health conditions, you shouldn't run the marathon today. If you don't have health conditions, you should drastically slow your pace because it's just not safe to be pushing yourself in this kind of heat, humidity. We didn't have a lot of money at the time. I paid to fly out there. I paid for a hotel. I don't care what the black balloons have to say. I take off at my normal pace, and I was fine for 13 miles. And it felt like somebody pulled the plug. And I'd never experienced this before. I'm going slower and slower and slower. About mile 18 or 19, I knew there is no chance I qualify. But if I paid thousands of dollars, I at least got to get the finisher t-shirt. It's little comfort. And so I'm just shuffling through. I must have looked like death warmed over because they had medical personnel at the finish line. And as soon as I crossed the line, the doctor said, take him to the medical tent. I was too tired to complain. I had nothing left. I pushed myself way past my physical ability. Emotionally, I'm so distraught. I wanted it so bad. I tried so hard. My wife had said, I don't care if you spend the money. I know you want to do it. Go ahead. I mean, there were 10 reasons why I was so depleted on every level. They bring me into the medical tent, and the doctor says, we got to bag him. That's a saline solution to rehydrate me. And they couldn't find a vein. The doctor says to the nurse, well, elevate his legs over his head. We'll try to get the blood flow going down. As they're working on me, then I heard the doctor say, oh, no. Now, when you're completely depleted and you're in a medical tent and there's a doctor and a nurse, and one of them says, oh, no? Most times, what? Tell me. Maybe I'll give you some suggestions. You know, I've watched Grey's Anatomy. Or I don't know. But I was so exhausted, I just had to lay back and say, the physician is going to do it or not. I just got to rest. There's nothing I can bring to this. They ended up getting 2 bags of saline solution to me before I could walk out. Has God ever let you to go into a situation where you are so disappointed and so depleted and you've tried so hard and it didn't work out? And you're saying, oh no, can you trust the great physician? You can't add to what he's doing, but can you trust that maybe he knows what he's doing? There's a lot of oh no's. I don't know what your oh no is. Maybe the diagnosis from doctor is, yeah, I'm sorry, it is cancer. You're like, oh no. You get a call from a police officer or a principal. Do you have any idea what we caught your son or daughter doing? It's like, oh no. You're getting all dolled up for a date with your boyfriend. You're pretty sure he's going to propose. And you go to a restaurant and he says, I think it's time for us to take a break. Like, oh no. Your elderly parent falls. You get laid off. The stock market crashes, whatever. I mean, there are any number of oh no's in this world. And a lot of those are invitations for God saying, I want to bring you into a new season of your life where the oh no can be real, but you're not alone. There's a great physician who's looking over you. Can you lay back and let him do his work? That's the humility behind peace. The third thing is a word that John Climacus coined in the 6th and 7th century. He wrote a great book called The Ladder of Divine Ascent. And the word is dispassion. Dispassion. Dispassion can be confusing. It's not a passionless existence. It's redirecting earthly passions into heavenly longings. Instead of looking vertically or horizontally to have, is he good with me? Is she good with me? Does this look nice or whatnot? You're looking vertically. How does God view what I'm doing? Bob and I have talked about this. If you do what I do, we speak or you write, you're always going to have the online critics and people trying to tear you down. In anything you do, you're going to have critics. Not just online, but any number of ones. And one time, I was just frustrated. I don't do well with it. And I felt like, and it seemed so bizarre, I didn't trust it at first. God saying, Gary, did you know I'm writing a song about you? What? That can't be right. I just want to sing songs to you. But then Zephaniah 3:17 came to my mind. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. This is to you, if you're in Christ. He will take great delight in you. In his love, he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. If God is singing a song over you, what are the lyrics? See, I want to hear that song. I can't wait. And so I'm just focused. Well, it's going to be about serving God, maybe surrendering to God or whatnot. But here's what I love about that. I don't care what she says about me or he says about me. I care what he says about me. And that sets you free. That sets up dispassion. Your kids don't get to define whether you're a good parent or not. Oh, you're a terrible parent. This is hateful. What if God is singing, oh, you're being faithful in the face of their opposition? Your spouse isn't the ultimate authority about whether you're a good spouse or not. Your parent isn't the best authority about whether you're being a good child. From God's perspective, what is God singing over you? And dispassion is I am now focusing on that audience. That's the only one that matters. I might be being a good parent, a good spouse, a good child, and they may not see it, but what matters is whether God sees it. It redirects my focus upwards. Dispassion means this. I've heard many people say this. I don't know who originally said it, but I love this line. It's easy to remember. Even if it's not okay, I'm okay. My family isn't together. Things are tough in my marriage. My bank account doesn't look good. My job doesn't look great. Health is an issue, whatnot. Even if it's not okay, I'm okay. Because if I have heavenly longings, there's nothing wrong in heaven. My salvation is secure. My affirmation was won by Jesus Christ with God. Everything is fine. There's nothing that can happen here that can steal my peace. Because I'm unshackling myself from the things that keep me anxious. I don't need to know how this crisis will end before I can have peace. All I need to know is the great physician is on it. Isn't that what causes us to be anxious? Just tell me how it ends. Do I live or do I die? Do they make it? Do they get well or not? Are we going to lose our house or not? Instead of God, you've got it. You've got my home. You've got my life. You've got my loved one. For some of you, peace means God's favor with us. And so you're thinking, my life will be better when I'm better. And you're struggling with the sin, or you've got your sobriety date, and you look at your favor with God based on your sobriety date. But your sobriety date doesn't define, how long it's been, doesn't define your acceptance before God. Your acceptance before God, your peace with God, is defined by what happened 2,000 years ago when Jesus died on the cross and rose from the dead and won your salvation. And so you have heavenly focus instead of an earthly one, that you don't need everything to go in your life right in your life here. You're trusting in God. Henry Drummond, late 19th century, wrote a great book called The Greatest Thing in the World. He said this: as you look back upon the past years of your life, is it not true that its unhappiness has chiefly come from the succession of personal slights, humiliations, and almost trivial disappointments which life has brought you? What makes you feel restless? You were asked this in worship. What makes it? Isn't it the personal slights, the humiliations, the trivial disappointments? He goes on to say this: wounded vanity, disappointed hopes, unsatisfied selfishness. These are the old, vulgar, universal sources of man's unrest. So Drummond would say, if you don't want to be restless, remove the cause of restlessness. If you die to depending on these things, that everybody speaks well of you, all your selfish desires are satisfied. If you die to depending on those things, we die to their ability to make us miserable. It's tremendous spiritual freedom. This will be the biggest contrast that you could have in your life when you exchange the lie for this truth. Some of you are giving permission to 50, maybe 100 people to destroy your peace. If they attack you, if they disappoint you, if they don't do what you want them to do, and you are letting all of these people steal your peace on a daily basis. A Christian who gets this says, no, I'm not going to let hundreds of people steal my peace. There is one person on whom my peace depends, and that's Jesus. And his affirmation is certain, and you will always live in peace. But to know true peace, you've got to value peace more than you value those blessings of the world. And it's hard because we would say, well, I value peace, but I also want peace and affluence. I also want peace and everybody to be good with me. I also want peace and a bright, shiny, happy family. But whatever you add to what you need for peace, you're actually pushing peace away. It's like saying, I want to eat healthy, but I also want cake and ice cream after every meal. I want to keep my blood sugar down, but I need to drink 6 colas every day, right? I want a heart-healthy life, but I'm going to live sedentary. You know, those go against each other. And I just got to tell you, once I realize how valuable peace is, I'll even defend it. If somebody's getting A or what, I'm like, this is not worth my peace. Worrying about this, fretting over this, it is not worth the cost to losing the peace that Christ has won for me. Does anybody here doubt that Jesus had peace? No, he personified peace. But let's look at his life. Did he have money saved up? Did he have 401k? No. He's supported by a bunch of women. Did he have detractors? Yeah, a lot of them. He had people accusing him of being in league with the devil. Did he have people who wanted to kill him? Yes, he did. Did he have one of his closest confidants betray him? Gave 3 years of his life to train, to love on this man, and he betrayed him. In his moment of greatest crisis, did those he had poured his life out on hold up their end of the bargain and be there with him? No, not even one stayed true to him. So we look at it. No money, lots of enemy, fair weather friends, an unfair trial, torture, and a death sentence. And yet, peace. Peace. Why? These 3 things. He had a passionate, trusting relationship with his heavenly Father. Not my will, yours be done. He had humility. I'm going to do what the Father calls me to do. And he had dispassion. He unhitched himself from the world to say, even if it's not okay, I'm okay. And it's not just that Jesus lived this. He wanted his disciples. He wants you to live this. Before he went to the cross, he said to his disciples, this was in Luke 21, hey, I just want you to know when I'm gone, things are going to get real. Some of you are going to be persecuted. Oh no. Some of you are going to be arrested. Oh no. Some of you will be killed. Oh no. And what does he say to them in verse 14? Make up your mind not to worry beforehand. Jesus promises you Jesus. Jesus promises you peace. He's not promising you a problem-free life or an easy life, but he says you can make up your mind beforehand. You're not going to fret. You're going to trust the great physician. Even if it's not okay, I'm okay. Can we say that together? Even if it's not okay, I'm okay. If you have Jesus, here's the good news. If you have Jesus, you can have peace right now. You don't have to fix everything that's bothering you. You can choose to trust in Jesus and say, I'm going to start living a life of peace right now. Now, if you don't know Jesus, today's a good time to start. Seriously. If you don't know Jesus, this is the only way to peace. You can trust in him. And even if Sam Darnold throws 4 interceptions, it can't happen. Please, God, no. Even if it's not okay, I'm okay. I just lost you. That was a mistake. There we go. But peace is a process. And peace is not a process. It's a relationship. Now, that's just one of the 12 lies that I think are important. Some other ones that I've been moved by. I always thought I had to control my life. After all, self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. But I realized by trying to control everything instead of trusting God, I become bored in my faith because real Christianity is a spiritual adventure. Jesus says in John 3:8, the wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it's coming from or where it's going. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit. If you're not living with spiritual adventure, you don't know what's going to happen. You're not living a life led by the Spirit. You're going to become bored with your faith. And then you're going to try to control everything to fix it, and that's pushing that away. The idolatry of the family is another lie. That our focus, our joy is in our spiritual family. Self-centered salvation is making so many lives almost useless, certainly fruitless. If you think the entire gospel is that Jesus came to earth, lived a sinless life, died on the cross, and rose from the dead so my sins could be forgiven, just so that I could live with him in heaven, if you think that fully describes what it means to be a believer, you're in the self-centered salvation deception. One of the big things for me is I never thought of myself as feeling entitled until I realized I did. And that my identity is the one who's been rescued by God. What does it mean to be rescued? It means God has already treated me better than I deserve. He doesn't have to prove himself again. I'm already treated better than I deserve. That unleashes new worship and joy and freedom. But this is a big one. And so if that would help you, I want to just say we are not here to make money off of anybody. You're brothers and sisters in Christ, not customers. And if you think one of these lies are going to hurt you and the book would help you and you're in a tough time financially, we have what we call a friends and family rate, which is free. Just tell my wife, she's the beautiful one in the glasses, brunette hair. She doesn't look like she could be my wife because somebody said to her one time, you must be so proud of your daddy. And she said, I am, but he didn't write these books. So you think, that can't be his wife? It's my wife, all right. Seriously, we try to sell them half price anyway, but if that's not enough, we want you to have it. Friends and family rate, if it will bless your walk with Christ, we want you to experience. I want you to know the supernatural calm. So for a prayer at the ending, I want to pronounce this blessing. Think about this. This is the highest blessing in the Old Testament. It's celebrated throughout all of Scripture. Listen to how it ends. Receive this. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace.